Yeah,
Can you wait till he gets through his presentation?
yeah, I just didn't want to
And
go back, jumping back if you were speaking.
Okay. Speak your name for the record.
Good, my name's Eddie Sosby, and I'm president of the Alligator Point St. Teresa Association. And really what I wanted to do is just offer to support this in any way that our organization can that might help, might add some different, add more to it.
As we move forward, we may ask for a letter of support from your
That'd be
organization.
great, thank you.
Or any of your members who have friends in high places. All right, let me go on then, because that was really the most expensive part here. All right, the estimated costs are probably going to cause FEMA to order environmental assessment or a cost-benefit analysis. Either one of those activities could take 3 to 6 months to complete, and before construction plans are created and permit from FDP sought, FEMA must approve the design. So I'm leading to what I think may have already happened, although I haven't been down there. It's looking like the earliest time for a contractor to be on Alligator Point making permanent repairs will be August 2017, and it could be later. Commissioner Sanders is willing to utilize some $15,000 of her paving funds for an asphalt surface on that 1,100 feet of damaged road. This will provide the residents a better driving service and will keep the county road department from having to maintain a lime rock road that has high traffic. Mr. Clay Smallwood has contacted Robertson Roberts, and they will pave that section of the road when they put the final layer of asphalt down on Ball Point Road. And this could have already happened. I don't know, Mr. Sosby has it.
Not yet.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, but it should happen next week or two. We're going to utilize them while they're already down there. Just go ahead and get that done.
Well, now, and let me say something. Roberts has already completed Ball Point Road. All they've got to do is some dressing up on the shoulders. So we need to go ahead and
Okay.
get contacted, Clay. You need to go ahead and contact Roberts, and let's get this going.
Okay, all right. All right, so we talked about the area that's the most everything. Now we're going to talk about the blue section, which is another project. And I've already signed this one. The section of roadway from Tom Roberts to Chip Morrison Drive will be dealt with as a separate project. The reason for the separation is that FEMA is adamant that the section in front of the OKOA is not entitled to the same reparations because FEMA has already reimbursed the county for moving that section of the road. The following repairs are being considered in this section, and I have signed this PW. The 1,600 feet of roadway and revetment in front of the OKOA will be cleaned up. The asphalt and concrete rubble will be removed. The filter fabric associated with the original rock revetment will be repaired, and the granite rocks will be moved back there to the revetment. FEMA is allowing the concept that the existing road has been reclassified as a bike path, which makes it eligible for FEMA funds to rebuild it. The rebuilt bike path will be an asphalt surface 9 feet wide. On Friday, February 2nd, I signed a PW for $563,000 for this project, and I've got a copy in your packet there. So, you know, a lot of the residents out here point say, oh man, just rebuild the road. We can't rebuild the road. There is a permitted authorized road that is the green section, and that is where the road is going to be, and that's just the way it is. But FEMA is willing to say, yes, you had some asphalt down there, and yeah, people are using it, so yes, you can put a bike path down there. It'll be 9 feet wide. I don't know the structural integrity of it, it's only going to be 9 feet wide. You know, whether, who actually uses it in the future, I don't know, but that it will be at least an asphalt surface down there that have some public function. And that's just where it is. There is a bike path designed by using DOT funds coming from the marina all the way down here. So at some point, we might very well have a bike path on Tom Roberts and a bike path down here. I don't quite know how it's going to work out, because construction on that path is several years away. But we're at least going to provide some public benefit to clean up that area in front of the OKOA.
Alan, real quick now.
Yes, sir.
If that area that you're talking about is gonna be 9 feet wide and designated a bike path, then there needs to be signage there that says that. So that it's not used for vehicular traffic. If you're designating this as a bike path, then it should be used for a bike path and not have pedestrians and vehicular traffic on a 9 foot. That's not gonna allow for two-way traffic to begin with, so you're gonna end up with issues if we don't clearly mark with signage that that is a bike, the continuation of the bike path coming from the marina.
That's fine.
Okay, so I wanna get that out there, that it's not to be used for vehicles just storming out of there at 40 miles an hour when we're designating it a bike path. It needs to be clear signage that it is a bike path and no vehicular traffic from a liability standpoint for the county.
Okay, so then the last thing is we talked, well, we haven't talked, I signed a PW for additional repairs to Gulf Shore Boulevard, but these repairs will not be done if FEMA approves the relocation. That was a minor issue. We lost another, 50 or 60 feet of asphalt down here, but we don't need any of that asphalt once the relocation is approved, and we are working through that. Even though the residents of Alligator Point on the Gulf Shore Boulevard have not been notified the facility about the project officially, I met with the call conference just last week. The letter should be going out, and the letter is just informing everybody from actually this point on the south side and the seven property owners of this relocation. There will be, I think the letter will contain some information that there are a couple options that the team was looking at. One option is do nothing. Another option is to rebuild the road in its current location. The third option then is to rebuild the road as we currently have it temporarily installed. Clearly, that's the most logical option. But I don't want people maybe confused when they see like, what is FEMA doing? They're not going to do anything? No, we have to go through, they have to go through this process of considering alternatives. And so there'll be three alternatives. One, do nothing. Two, rebuild the road back. Or three, improve the road that the county put in temporarily.
Real quickly, Alan, I don't see them rebuilding that road right there
Of
on
course
the
not.
Gulf, because the next storm, it's just gonna wash back out.
Well, the state's not going to let us do it anyway. We're already in
They're
consent.
not going to continually repair that, so.
But FEMA has to go, the consultants have to go through this process of erasing or removing options for.
Right.
Okay, all right, then number four, I signed a PW for repairs to St. George on Boat Ramp at an estimated cost of $71,000. Since the repairs are within the scope of a paving contractor, does the board want to direct the county engineers to see if Roberts and Roberts can make these repairs while they're under contract with the county? And so this would be, so we were trying to get this road, it's drivable now, but I'm trying to get more asphalt on it before the summer season starts. And I defer to you all if you want to see if we can get Roberts and Roberts to pave that. Basically, it's a patch job out there. It'll be cutting out sections and putting some asphalt down. If you all want to do that.
I think the board should move forward with that, as we have the paving contractors in the county from a logistics standpoint. Now's the perfect time to do it.
I do too, but I just want to tell the board, that's what I recommend we do.
I make that motion.
So, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion?
I would like to ask something, Chairman.
Okay.
This, as I understand it, is being paid for by FEMA funds, correct?
Yes.
Okay. that's
Yes,
what I
yeah, I
wanna make
mean,
sure.
it'll be the same condition, Commissioner. The state of Florida, I'm sorry, President's Declaration, FEMA pays, the federal government pays 75% of the cost, the state of Florida pays 11.5%, and the local government's supposed to pay 11.5%. So in this case, $71,000, 11.5% of that is about $8,000. There is another trust fund, it's the Bridge Trust Fund, and so I haven't gotten there, but I've already talked to finance, we would use the match, we'd take $8,000 out of the Bridge Trust Fund to make that improvement, because it's associated with the bridge.
Right,
Of course, you have $1 million in that, so you have a little bit of latitude.
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that I was
Yes, sir.
understanding.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Well, we do have a, you got a comment?
Yeah, it's a comment, but I'm gonna make it working. What, I guess, now I asked about a bridge a minute ago. What I'm thinking, you said $5 million, and then they got to get access. It can't be that many access over there. What, that'll be another $2 or $3 million? I ain't talking about.
Well, you have 10 lots on the south side and 10 lots on the north side, so you have, I mean, just, and I say this, and I'm not designing, it just becomes very complicated trying to build a pile supported structure that has permanent access to lots that you are letting go to wash. We're not trying to stabilize the shoreline anymore, it just becomes sort of a design problem.
So what you talking about, another couple $1 million?
Yes, sir.
You don't think that worth it down the road? I mean, you looking at, how much you done spent so far and
We
how
spent
much we
millions.
gonna spend?
Well, the problem is, it may be worth it down the road, but unless we have outside money, basically, we're in a situation. The way the hazard mitigation program works is that you can match dollar for dollar whatever your repair costs were. So we have moved our repair costs as, we've been as generous as we can on $1.8 million to repair this road. So then we get another $1.8 million of hazard mitigation money. That's 3.6. Unless the county has $2 or $3 million more dollars somewhere, we don't have any money and won't get any money out of FEMA to build a bridge.
So that would be borne by the local.
It'll be borne by somebody, yes, sir.
Okay, but I just, it'll be feasible, economic to build a bridge.
You're saying, but FEMA only
You
does
gonna have that
one
problem in the
unless
next
it's.
20 years.
Yeah.
You gonna have the problem now.
Until it washes through.
On the bike path, we do have, the bike path, St. George Island Boat Ramp. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion on that issue? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, and I'm done with FEMA and Alligator Point unless anybody has any questions.
Yes, sir, I just want to take 1 minute, indulge me, please, to thank the county for everything y'all done since the storm. The county resources have been out there to help us from the very get-go, and you put a lot of effort into it and a lot of financial investment into it as well. But I felt like it's appropriate and that the county staff be recognized for the good work that they've done. Residents have told me they make a phone call and the county people come right out to help them. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the residents out there and the members of our association. Appreciate everything, and I do thank Commissioner Sanders for indulging us with some of her paving funds.
That's
It'll be a
all right.
big help. Thank you.
Just trying to get y'all way going, Mr. Eddie.
Okay, all right, so now we're on to item 5, we're really on to restore stuff now. Inform the board that at a long teleconference with ESA, the consultants for the consortium on January 19th. The consultants are making a second round of contacts with each county to see how each county is proceeding with developing projects for submission to part of the state expenditure plan. I told the consultants that Franklin County is in the same position we were in November regarding our local projects, which are the development of a new EOC and the dredging of the East Point Channel and the 2 Mile Channel. The consultant said they have been in contact with state officials and they believe the state expenditure plan should contain an oyster recovery project and that the Apalachicola Bay is the best location for such a project considering the premier position the bay holds for producing oysters. I agree completely, but said that without some guidance from the U.S. Supreme Court, we are not able to determine what projects would be beneficial to the oyster industry recovery. I mean, after all, we need to know how much water we're getting and where it's going to be. The consultant said they would ask around with state officials to see what ideas the state of Florida would support regarding a proposed project. As the board is aware, the governor has to approve the state expenditure plan. So it will be beneficial to the county if we have state-generated support for a project. The consultants asked me if I was attending the consortium meeting because they might want to meet with me, tell me what they have learned about support for an oyster project in the state expenditure plan. And then last week, Mr. Warren Yeager, and actually called me again yesterday, Gulf County Restore Coordinator, has asked that the 8 Restore Coordinators from the 8 impacted counties meet before the consortium meeting to talk about the Triumph. So if the board will pay my travel, but not my hours down there, I just need to travel, I will attend the consortium meeting to meet with ESA and to meet about Triumph. So there'll be board action on that, if you want me to go down there.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. I will not necessarily attend the consortium meeting itself because these other meetings that I know I need to be at might conflict. So Michael Morone, as a consortium alternate, will attend if Commissioner Sanders cannot attend. But let me just say.
Let me just
Okay.
say, the reason why I can't attend is because I have a TDC meeting that I have to chair. So I can't be in 3 places at one time.
Let me just say that Warren Yeager has called me and told me what he would like to see done with Triumph. So I'm talking about Triumph Fund now. As you all may know, the legislature has received $300 million from BP. Well, the state of Florida has received $300 million from BP. The legislature is authorizing the agreement to make a decision of where that money is going. According to the Speaker of the House and the leaders of the state of Florida, that $300 million will go to Triumph. There's still a debate about how Triumph divides that money. And there are 2 proposals, one in the House and one in the Senate. And according to Mr. Yeager, neither one guaranteed that any of the 8 impacted counties would get any particular share of the money. So all $300 million would go to the Triumph Board. It then would rely upon the Triumph Board to make a decision about how to spend that money. Mr. Yeager is hoping that the counties, and I'll tell you what he wants, he's hoping the counties will support that we, the 8 counties, put a request to Triumph or to the legislature that says split up that $300 million the same way that Pot 1 was split up, where we get a guaranteed percentage. In our case, we would get about $25 million. Gulf County would get about $20 million. Wakulla County would get about $18 million. But we would be guaranteed a share of that Triumph money. The risk is that since the Triumph Board, 3 out of the 5 Triumph Board members sit on the other side of Bay County, the whole staff and the infrastructure that's generating Triumph is coming out of the University of West Florida. It's all way far away from here. That without some structure that might guarantee us a share of the money, it's possible that Triumph would find great ideas elsewhere and we don't get anything. Now, we don't know that yet, but it's certainly possible. We've all been around long enough to see how population bases control the outcome of things, and if we don't have a sort of a guaranteed minimum investment or a minimum stake in this thing, I'm not sure we're gonna get anything. So as on behalf of you all, I told Warren, I would support it, but I would talk to you all about it. I mean, it's a risk, you know, maybe we have a great idea, and maybe we would get more than $25 million with a great project that is not yet designed, but, you know, I just know how these things can turn out. And Triumph has told us before, don't expect us to be your first dollar, don't expect us to be your only dollar, so we have to come in with a partner. And right now, there's no partner in the county who's got millions of dollars, who wants to make a proposal that generates jobs. We're not talking about natural restoration now, we're talking about job creation. And so if we do support a proposal where we're guaranteed a percentage, and $25 million would be similar to Pot 1, then we at least know we have some money to work with somebody over time to develop, create some jobs here.
Alan, real quickly, I would say if the board does this, that we would probably be following the same trail like we're following with the restore dollars, that money would just be held by Triumph in the name of the county until we came up with a particular project, and that project would go before the Triumph board that would
Yes.
release those funds, kind of like the Treasury's doing for restore.
Yeah, same idea.
So they're not losing control of the money, and they would have say-so on the project or a particular project that we would present, but also the board would have assurances that that money was locked in with the name of Franklin County on it.
Right. Because,
I think it's a win-win for the county to lock in and have some money allocated to this county, whether we use it next year or the following year. You know, should we get some economic development generated here with the studies that we're doing, that we have the ability to do that.
right.
And of course, like you said, they're gonna be wanting matching monies, and just like the county wants matching monies for their restore dollar. We pretty much directed everybody that wants to apply for a project, well, that's fine, you can apply for a project, but we're expecting a match to go with those county restore dollars. So I don't have any problem with it, and I think it's the best thing to do, to at least have those dollars locked in with the county's name on it, as opposed to having it sit there and it could go to Pensacola or anywhere else within the 8 counties that we may not gain any benefit out of.
I agree, because my concern is the meetings I went to through Florida's Great Northwest, you know, they're talking about this regional transformation, where they'll get an entity in there, and they constantly use the automobile industry as an example, but it could be the aerospace, aviation industry, where they get someone to build a new factory. Well, that alone might be $200 million. I mean, they're looking at something that would generate hundreds of jobs or thousands of jobs over in the Pensacola area, and I don't know what it would be, but it could easily be, you know, a disproportionate share of the money, and then we would be left with fighting over remains. So I agree that I think, you know, while we're capping how much we might get, we're at least protecting the fact we get something.
But we, as I stated before, not trying to be redundant, but we have to allow and let, quote, the Triumph know that this is a process we would probably be advantageous for us to follow, and they would still have say-so. Not trying to just take the money and put it in the county's name, but they would still have participation, they would still have the ability to help us move forward as we try to diversify economies and create economic development. So they're not out of the loop, they're
No.
basically in the middle of the loop.
Right, because they would be still challenging the county, saying, okay, we told you this is your money, but guess what? We also said you can't come and get it by yourself. You have to have matching funds, you have to have a business plan, you have to have a partner who's going to create jobs. So yes, they would still be monitoring.
So they would still be participating and still be involved and be in the loop, but we're
Yes.
not trying to take them out of the loop, but on the other hand, it does allow some money to be dedicated in the name of Franklin County. So as you talk to Warren and y'all discuss this amongst the 8 counties, these are some of the things I would like for you to bring up and see how they react to our line of thinking.
Okay.
And we still need a decision of the pleasure of the board as to whether y'all want to follow that process or stay where we're at. That's the pleasure of the board.
That's where we're at, right. We can rely upon the legislature to look out for our best interests, or we can put forward our own idea that we think is better served. Okay, well, my feeling is that, I mean, this meeting is not required for a vote, but there are, but I'll come back on 17th, we can talk about what all the 8 counties agreed to. But that's the direction I'm headed, unless there's any objections, that we ought to try and protect our interests by getting a guaranteed share. Okay.
No comment from the board on that issue?
I think it's a great idea. Because, like you said, if you leave it up to the legislature, you just don't know how it's gonna go. The deal is being able to get it to work out in our favor, and yeah, you might be capping what you're gonna get, but at least you might have some guarantee as to what you're gonna get. I think it's a great idea,
Okay.
to me personally.
Well, I don't want that thing to go 6 in one hand and a half a dozen in the other hand. Just like they said, up there, we might not get nothing, and they take it all down the west end of the county, west end of the state, like Pensacola and Fort Walton and all that. But I don't wanna see that neither. But in the meantime, I don't wanna see we bring it here and then Gulf County put in a proposal and they wanna use it. I mean, I want it to be used for Franklin County.
The best way to protect that is to have a guaranteed percentage reserved for Franklin County.
Yeah, but Gulf County plan on building that
By the ship's channel.
ship channel and all that, and talking about the railroad and everything, they gonna wanna come grab some of that.
Right,
I'm not looking for that, I'm looking for something right here they kinda gonna,
right, that's
that
correct.
we can do.
Right.
Instead of,
Right,
they could be looking out, so it'll be more money for them.
right,
I
that's
ain't-
true, that's true.
But,
I mean, Gulf County, it said that it just so happens that the numbers that work out is the $20 million, the extra $20 million they need for their ship's channel.
Yeah,
So, and so this sort of this guaranteed cut satisfies their current need for money.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what happens, and then I'll report back on the 17th. Okay. All right. The rest of the items are pretty straightforward. Item six, forward by with a copy of monitoring report from St. James Bay Development. This requires no action by the county. It's just a required report from the developer. I'll give you a revised history of Alligator Point expenditures. And the last item, number 8, board direction on FDOT paving grants. The board is allowed to submit one CIDP grant this cycle, and the board has selected Creamer Street Bypass in East Point. Commissioner Jones asked me whether the application could be expanded to include another short segment in East Point known as Avenue D, which also runs from Franklin Street to Island Drive. Commissioner, I did call FDOT, and their initial response is that Avenue D is a separate road segment, and they will consider it as a separate project. So for that reason, I recommend the board keep the SIGB as we previously submitted.
Gotta try.
We tried.
Try.
All right, so that's there. We do have 2 SCOP applications, though. The board can submit 2 SCOP applications this year. Upon consultation with the county engineers, I recommend the board complete 2 projects that are currently in the FDOT 5-year work plan. Design and construction work has already been approved for the widening and resurfacing of County Road 67 from US 98 to the Crooked River Bridge, with construction occurring at, right now, they say construction's in 2020. That could change depending on funding from the legislature. I recommend the board submit a SCOP project to finish this project by submitting an application to widen and resurface County Road 67 from the Crooked River Bridge to the Liberty County line. A second SCOP project I recommend the board finish is the widening and resurfacing of C30 from 13 Mile to the Gulf County line. The section of C30A from 98 to 13 Mile is also already in the DOT work plan. So if we do those 2 projects, or those 2 applications, we finish those things up.
Let me ask you a question before we submit all this. What is our scrap project gonna be?
Well, we're not eligible for scrap until we start collecting the money, which will be January of 2018.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem.
I thought
The scrap, when we adopted the 1 cent sales tax, we were late in adopting it, so we don't start collecting it until January this year.
I thought we
Should have been
started,
January of this year.
I thought it was January this year.
It was adopted prior to October the 1st. They
Okay.
received a copy of the ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, I thought, well, then we have, I don't have a scrap project. I don't even know what the guidelines are on scrap.
Smile County Technical
Right,
Assistance.
but I don't,
Okay.
so I don't even know when the deadline, we can get.
Well, the reason why I'm saying is, it's all good and well about, Highway 67, but we got a major problem out there. You can't hardly drive down that road from the city limits of Carabel, city limits of Carabel out to the prison, because it's been cut so many times, the same situation, not cut, but bored underneath,
Okay.
and the road's just like this.
Okay.
And so I'm telling you, it's awful. So that's what I was saying, I'm all for the project, but 2020, we can't wait until 2020.
That's something we need to talk to DOT about on the 17th.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we can't
If we don't,
wait.
we're gonna have to go ahead and stripe it. We're gonna have to
Well, I
put
mean,
some
we got-
stripes on, stripe it, cause you can't see.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go ahead and stripe it
Yeah.
with the money, some paving money that I have
Okay.
left over. But the thing about it is we've got to fix the road.
Okay.
The road is and you're gonna have to do it, the mill on up, you're gonna have to replace some of the base and all that.
It's certainly, Commissioner, and I don't know the design standards we put in there, we certainly may have designed it that way for that first section, you know, I agree, maybe
Well,
can't wait to
and that's the
2020.
reason why I'm kind of concerned on moving forward, and that's fine if y'all want to move forward on other projects, but I don't want to limit what we can do with Highway 67, because there is an immediate need for that.
You
And
don't
it
know if
is.
you're riding on the road or the grass.
Okay, wow,
There ain't
Yeah,
no lines on the road.
okay.
and
can't
it's,
see
and it's
nothing.
bad where they
Yeah.
jacked them boards.
Let's,
How would you go about moving this project up?
Yeah, I
Just
don't
by
know.
asking
Let's talk to
DOT and
DOT.
hoping that they can prioritize it or something?
yeah, or get more money from the legislation than what they're anticipating, it's happened before. Or now that we have the whole road segment being done, maybe DOT will recognize it as a better project and move.
Well, you know, this
I
is,
don't
On both of
again,
these.
again,
Yeah.
this is one of the roads that the state designated back in the 80s, early 80s, and, you know, like Alligator Point Road, they handed us Alligator Point Road, they handed us, Highway 67 in Franklin County, and that's 16, 17 miles of road
Right, right.
that the county takes care of.
And they work, and they use them to get to the prison. They're workers.
I know,
So, I mean, that's it.
I know.
So should we go ahead and have these two projects approved, Alan, and then work on getting them prioritized and bumped up? or-
Bumped up.
I would, I mean, that's my logic, that way you have both of them in the system.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve what you've recommended.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. And,
And I'll get Michael Marone to report on scrap at the next meeting.
well, yeah, I was just fixing to call Clay up here and make sure that we get some information on that program.
I apologize, I thought we missed the window and it was gonna be 2018.
Well, the window was missed in the prior year, but the board adopted, that would have been, in order to get the tax in place by January 1st of 2016, that deadline was missed
Okay.
because the issue was not brought up until after the statutory deadline.
Okay.
But the board did adopt the ordinance this year in a timely fashion. And I sent that ordinance to Tallahassee. And in fact, I had a follow-up phone call from a person at the Department of Revenue saying they had not received the notification from us for the adoption of the ordinance. Well, I sent it to them again. So if there's a fly in the ointment, we need to find the fly.
Okay, well, it was my interpretation, no one told me that, I was just
Oh, okay.
thinking, yeah, so it may be the DOT's thinking, in fact, DOT didn't call me when I was talking to Dustin Cassels about the CIGP. He reminded me that Frank County was the only county in the state of Florida that did not have that final cent. And I said, no, we have it now.
Yes.
And so he didn't know that, so, we'll go back and see where we're at on that. Okay, that's the end of my report, which has been way too long.
Okay, anybody have any other questions for Alan on the restore coordinator's report? Next would be county coordinator report, Alan, I think you were presenting that too. And we might can get that done before we go into public hearings.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. If you want to know. Okay, most of these are notifications to you all. Inform the board that Sheriff's Office notified Linda at Finance that there was a problem with the dispatch in their console radio system. The circuit boards that allows dispatch to monitor and communicate with the slurs, which is your law enforcement radio system, apparently had an issue and stopped working. That created a public safety issue. The cost to order the parts, including express shipping, was $12,771. Linda recommended the sheriff's staff contact the state and request the use of funding from the county's intergovernmental radio communications program, which I think will be approved, like it says here. This program is funded by the county receipt of $12.50 from each radio. The state approved the request and equipment has been installed. So just to let you know that we have a trust fund that allows for that to be expended, and the state agreed, so that is moving forward. Board acted to authorize the chairman's signature on a contract with Polaris Construction to renovate the bathrooms at Carabel Beach Park. At the last meeting, the board accepted the recommendation of the project architect, Doug Schuler, to award the project to Polaris Construction. Mr. Schuler and Mr. Polaris have agreed to the scope of the project, and the total cost was $120,000. Attorney Schuler has reviewed the contract, so board action to approve the contract.
So move.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, we've done item number 3. Item number 4, Mr. James Harris, tax collector, has requested the chairman's signature on a resolution redesignating him as budget officer. The state offers the option to newly elected or re-elected tax collectors of becoming a budget officer or fee officer following the election year. Mr. Harris made the decision that he needs to maintain himself as a budget officer, so you need a motion to accept that. And that's what he's been all along.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Inform the board that Mr. Scott Shalley has resigned his position as Executive Director of the FAC. Attached to your packet is a letter from Ms. Kathy Bryant, President. So apparently there's some change up in your staff there. Inform the board that Michael participated in a security meeting with Mr. Bill Wills, the Second Judicial Circuit Trial Court Marshal, and Captain Tommy Summerhill of the Sheriff's Department. The discussion includes securing and controlling the use of the courtrooms more effectively, active shooter trainings in the courthouse, upgrades to security systems and policies, and Michael will update the board as new security policies and procedures are implemented, part of which I think was everybody having badges now, like the clerk is wearing.